Hey there, everybody. Cape Joel back again in the white room that is becoming kind of synonymous with my breakdowns. I never intended it to be that way, but it is. Today is Saturday as I record this, and at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, DC Comics had their big WonderCon panel, the first of its kind where they finally rolled out all the information that you could ever want to know about their new DC Rebirth initiative. Now, obviously, I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about here. I'm very excited. I have a smattering of the titles that I want to tell you about and help you maybe get a better understanding of. But before I even want to get into that, I want to talk about the panel itself. Like I said, it was the first of its kind, and it was really good, actually. They were very laid back, they were very casual, they were funny, they were cracking jokes, they were palling around with each other. They should do this more often. Honestly, this really felt like a sweet kind of fan moment. It's easy to build up these people who run our favorite comic book companies as these evil corporate giants, but no, they're fans just like us, and they're kind of cool, honestly. Even Dan DiDio, who gets a lot of crap, gets a lot of good laughs in there, and they were not afraid to make fun of themselves and some of the shortcomings that DC Comics has had over the last little while. And unlike a lot of panels out there, unlike a lot of, kind of trade show stuff like this, it didn't feel forced, was the thing. It felt very easygoing and very casual, and they wasted no time getting into the titles and what we can expect. And of course, they led with the big guns. They led with the guy who paid the bills. It's Batman. This new Batman series, of course, huge shoes to fill, taking on after the legendary Scott Snyder run, the run that's been going on for as long as I've been reviewing and talking about comics professionally online. And the writer, the rumors were true, and Tom King is going to be taking over this one. Tom King, of course, you will all know from his work on Grayson, and you'll also know that he is a retired CIA agent. Yes, a real-life spy is going to be writing Batman. How freaking cool is that? We got some promotional art here to look at. Obviously, Batman is still rocking the costume that he had at the end of the last Batman issue, at the end of number 50. So the orange outline, the orangish suit, looks like it's going to be staying, and it's going to be staying across the line. We can also see Commissioner Gordon. Mustache is back, hair is back to normal, and he's back to being commissioner. So the status quo has most definitely been returned. Strangely, what's up with those two people behind him? The kind of blonde guys in super suits who they kind of look like Kryptonian Crest, don't they? That's weird. That's interesting. I'll be happy to see where that one goes. Next up, out of the gate on the new title rollout, we had James Tynion, a true favorite of mine. I've been championing this dude's career since day one. He was one of the first big interviews I ever got as a comic book guy. If you're interested in that review, you can actually check that out over on my Daily Motion. I was able to back up a copy of that. He's going to be taking over Detective Comics, and man, Detective Comics is changing now. What used to be the mystery book of the Batman family now looks to be becoming a team book for the entire Bat family, like a Bat family book. We can see Cassandra Cain rocking a brand new costume. It's kind of like what she's wearing right now in Eternal, only she's got a bat mask and ears to go with it. Tim Drake, who is no longer wearing the Red Robin costume, who is back to a standard Robin costume, and it looks fucking awesome, by the way. And Stephanie Brown. Apparently, from what I understand, this new team is going to be about Batman and Batwoman mentoring a new generation of sidekicks and a new generation of Bat family members. And you know what? We need this book. We need this book bad right now because we have so many sidekicks and prospective sidekicks running around without direction. There was no announcement, but I can only assume that Duke and Harper Row, given that if they survive the end of Eternal, who knows, they'll probably end up on this book. And you know what? I think that's awesome, and I can't wait for that. And even more interesting than that, this is yet another book that goes back to the original numbering. So when this one comes out, it's not going to be Detective Comics number 1. It's going to be Detective Comics number 934, meaning this book actually has a chance to hit issue number 1000, which is so cool. Now, probably my biggest pop of the night, or of the afternoon, it was an afternoon thing, Tim Seeley. Again, another dude whose work I've championed from day one, who I've been lucky enough to talk to on a number of occasions now. He is going to continue to stick with Dick Grayson. He, of course, had a great run on Grayson, and the newest issue that came out this week really sorely misses his touch. Well, guess what? He's not going far. He's taken over Nightwing, and oh my God, he's back in blue. Back in blue. So freaking cool. I love the costume. him. I love that he's Nightwing again. And they make a point by saying, we're not wiping Grayson from the slate. We're not wiping his time and experiences from there. We're actually taking it and running with it. And the new story arc is going to be called Better Than Batman, which I think is so awesome, man. I am so super psyched for Nightwing. That is going to be great. Again, keeping with the Bat family, the next one we saw was Batgirl. Now, I've had a real love-hate relationship with Batgirl. I absolutely loved the Gail Simone run. It was some of my favorite comics I had read at the time. The subsequent run from Stewart and Fletcher, I stuck with way longer than I really thought I could, even though it kind of became a chore. At a point, she's leaving Burnside in this new arc. She's leaving Bathurst and Blur. That's a bit of Canadian humor out there. Stewart and Fletcher, they're Canadian, and Burnside felt a lot like Bathurst and Blur to me. She's leaving the hipster city and she's going to Asia on a backpacking retreat on a training mission. I like the idea of an international Batman book. They've definitely tried to play with that before, and it's never quite stuck. I hope they put the superhero back in this book, because I felt the teen drama and the teen angst and the teen soap opera really overtook Barbara Gordon's story, and I would like to see her kind of get back to basics and get back to kicking ass, more or less. It is weird that they say she's on a training retreat, because I feel that kind of regresses her character a bit, where it's like, well, she's been at this for as long as Dick Grayson has been at being Robin, so shouldn't she be pretty good at this point? Keeping up with Barbara Gordon, the next book we got, penned by the writers of the 100, or two of the writers of the 100. We have Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. I, of course, huge Birds of Prey fan. Love my Gail Simone. Love what she did with the team. They're keeping it nice and small here. It's three. It's Black Canary, who is got a bit of a cool costume redesign now. She's back to the corset. She's back to the fishnets, which I know she had been kind of moving that way in her other book with the band. She also has an actual black canary on the back of her jacket, which is a nice touch. It's going to be her, Batgirl, and the Huntress, Helena Bertinelli. Now, I know what you're thinking there. It's like, wait a minute, I thought Helena Bertinelli was the matron of Spiral. She was, which means that maybe Spiral will be going away, or maybe Spiral will be changing. I know in the pages of the Grayson book right now, she was injured, and it looked like that whole story was reaching its conclusion. So she's back now. She's back as Huntress. This book apparently is going to be dealing with different crime families. This is Huntress back out for revenge. They're going to call, back her whole origin as a mobster's daughter and everything. I'm actually really excited for this. I was not a fan of the new 52 Birds of Prey, but I'm actually more than willing to give this one a shot. This one looks cool. And out of all these new books, there was the Granddaddy, and that is, of course, where is Scott Snyder? The rumors were he was going to get another Batman book. Well, he is, and it's going to be called All-Star Batman. Oh, yes, All-Star Batman. But this has nothing to do with the Jim Lee Frank Miller book, which they are sure to stress. That one will continue never to happen. This book actually kind of seems to be Snyder's reward for everything he's done with Batman. It's like, hey, here's your own book that you can run, where you can have a revolving door of your favorite artists, including John Romita Jr. and Jock and everyone else, and you can just tell your own stories that are in continuity but are far enough away from the action of everything else that you can be free to redesign villains and just kind of, have a ball and do whatever you want. Speaking of redesigned villains, apparently the first arc is going to be based on Two-Face, which is interesting because if you remember Peter J. Tomasi's Batman and Robin run, Two-Face killed himself in that book, or at least it looked like he killed himself. But yeah, he's coming back. You can see Catwoman has a new design here on the cover. Penguin looks to have a new design. Mr. Freeze is back to having his big bulky costume and gun, which I'm super excited for. I mean, hey, it's Batman, it's Scott Snyder, it's Rebirth. What more do you want? And from the Bat family, we move on to the Superman family, and I am not ashamed to say I have not read any New 52 Superman that wasn't Batman Superman or wasn't related to some sort of crossover. It didn't offer me anything. I was not very interested in it, but I will tell you this, I am really excited about Action Comics from Dan Jurgens. Jurgens, of course, is writing the really awesome Lois and Clark book right now, which is the continuation of Convergence and what happened to pre-Flashpoint Superman once he showed up in the main DC universe. This is a continuation of that. This is going to be that Superman meeting Clark Kent, meeting New 52, Superman, and also kind of battling Lex Luthor, who's making a go at trying to be a Superman on his own. Also, Doomsday is apparently going to be in it, and there's going to be a bunch of amazing stuff spinning out of this book. Action Comics looks to be the book to read for Superman fans. It looks like there's going to be a ton of great stuff happening there. And you know what? And for the first time in the New 52, I'm excited to read about Superman again, an in-continuity Superman book. And speaking of Tomasi and he's going to be taking the reins of Just Plain Superman. And as we can see, you know, they look to be brother-sister books. They look to have a lot of stuff going on. It's Gleason. Gleason's doing the art on this one, and it looks really good. It looks, you know, very, very old-timey comic book. So I'm excited to see where they go with this one. This also looks fun. Don't be surprised if I start reviewing more Superman in the future, because I think I just might. And the super hits just kept on coming because we also have the Super-Man book, which was perhaps one of the more interesting, one of the more confusing titles. Well, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be Yang taking a hold of this one. You're definitely a younger writer. They stressed how young and hip he was in the actual conference. And this is going to be the tale of an Asian Superman. Yeah, of a Japanese Superman, who somehow he's a young teen, he gets imbued with the powers of a Kryptonian, and I think that's really cool. We haven't seen a new addition to the Superman family in a very long time, let alone a more international, more Asian-flavored one. Now, obviously, you know, in the back of my cynical, business-minded head, I could think to myself, like, yes, of course, you know, superhero movies do great over in Asian markets. Why doesn't someone try to create an actual Asian superhero? Well, they did, and I think it's a nice, cool little bit of diversity in there, and I know I will definitely want to give Super-Man a try. Continuing with the super titles, Steve Orlando, who I loved on his work with Midnighter, he's going to be taking over Supergirl. Supergirl being in a kind of weird place right now because they have the digital comic, they have the TV show, but they didn't have a new book for the longest time. Orlando says that this new book is going to, you know, kind of be going back to the basics of the character, going to go back to Krypton and her parents. They're going to work in the cyborg Superman, which it's funny, in the conference, everyone gasped when he revealed that this New 52 cyborg Superman is her father. Yeah, we already knew that. Or at least we should have already known that. I imagine people didn't read that book. I love Orlando. I probably never would have picked up a Supergirl, but with him writing it and with all this new stuff he's kicking, I'm more than happy about it. And from there we move on to Trinity. Yes, Batman, Superman is no more, and Superman, Wonder Woman is no more, but we have Trinity written and drawn by Francis Manapul. So if nothing else, you know it's going to be freaking beautiful. And that cover, man, this cover is mind-blowing. That's a sexy, sexy cover is what that is. I'm surprised to see what he ends up doing with that book. And moving on from there, we have the Justice League, and it's a much more different format in Justice League. It's going to be written by Brian Hitch. Hitch, of course, who did JLA, and everyone remembers from his work on the Ultimates, with artist Tony Daniels. And again, Tony Daniels turns in some amazing work, so you know it's going to look pretty, is what it's going to do. It's going to look really, really pretty. The team, Aquaman back on it, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg, Batman, Superman, but also not one, but two Green Lanterns. You got two Green Lanterns on the team. You got Simon Baz, who I assumed had been thrown under the bus and they weren't going to do anything with, and Jessie Cruz, the former Power Ring, who got her abilities from the Evil Earth 2 version of Green Lantern. She's on the team too, and she's also a Green Lantern now, so I can only assume at the end of Darkseid War, moving forward, we're going to see something with that. And, you know, while we're on the subject of the Green Lantern titles, Hal gets to stick around, only his book now is just Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. This looks to be a book more encompassing the whole universe. Sinestro's in there, Carol is in there. It looks like that's where that book's going to go. Warworld is going to play a big part. Vietti is still writing that one, and Scriver is still doing the art, so not much change in that one. Why mess with success? But it's the main Green Lanterns book. Yeah, it's not Green Lantern anymore. It's Turns with an S, is going to be the book that features Jessie Cruz and Simon Baz in a book together as rookie Green Lanterns starting off, and they kind of got to be partners. It's kind of like a buddy cop piece. You know, I'm kind of jealous of everyone who's all into Green Lantern. You know, I'm slowly catching up on everything, but this looks interesting. This looks like something I would totally read, and it's nice to know they didn't utterly throw Baz under the bus just yet. And hey, also, Red Lantern characters coming back, so get ready for that if you're a fan of the Red Lanterns. They're going to be the villains of this newest arc. Animation veteran John Semper is going to be taking over Cyborg. He had an interesting pitch for the book. I'm a big fan of Semper's animation work. He worked on Static Shock. He worked on Spider-Man. Never been a huge fan of Cyborg myself. I always felt he worked better on teams, and I really wished in the DC Rebirth, they kind of just moved Victor Stone over to the Titans team, or the new Teen Titans team. But hey, they're still having faith in his book. They still have faith, probably because he's going to be in one of the movies, and he might be getting a movie of his own down the line. They wanted to keep up with his book. This could be interesting. This could be cool. And speaking of Titans, spinning out of Titans Hunt, we just have The Titans. Again, written by Dan Abnett, so you know it's going to be good. We got Nightwing in his classic blue. We got Donna Troy with a new costume. We got, I can only assume, that's Tempest there, also with a new redesigned costume. I got a little too excited at first, I'm not gonna lie. I thought with this artwork you're looking at right here, I'm like, oh good, he's still, Roy Harper's still Arsenal, but they got rid of the dumb hat. No, actually, I looked at a bigger picture. He still has the stupid friggin' trucker crap, only now he turns it around. So now, instead of fixing his look, now Roy Harper looks even more like a tool than he did before. Yeah, DC Rebirth, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Am I right? Am I right? Speaking of things changing but staying the same, Suicide Squad was one of the next books they talked about. Yet again, they're changing the writing team on this one. Apparently, writing Suicide Squad is as dangerous as being on the team itself, because you're continually getting moved out. Jim Lee is going to be doing art, so it's going to be a beautiful looking book. And yes, they've changed the team yet again, and surprise, surprise, the team is exactly like the one from the movie with Killer Croc and Katana on the team. Are you shocked? I'm not shocked. It's kind of funny because when they started this whole DC Rebirth thing, Jeff Johns is like, yeah, we wanted to develop these books, outside the extended media, without the influence of, the movies and the TV shows and everything. I guess when that comes to Suicide Squad, that was a big old lie, though, but we kind of knew that was going to happen. Honestly, I'm interested to see where they go from here. I know I've always been a fan of Killer Croc on the Suicide Squad, even though he's never been, except for the movie. I know I said if I was ever to do a run, I would put him on the team. Also, hey, Harley Quinn looks different now. She has blonde hair like Margot Robbie. Just, let that sink in. That apparently happens in the newest issue of Harley Quinn that came out this week. I haven't had a chance to read that yet, but yeah, she's basically just become her movie counterpart now. Ooh, onto some stuff that I'm going to really like, and that is Green Arrow. The beard is back. He's back in beardy again. The beard is here to stay. All good Green Arrow stories have goatees. Jeff Johns said so I agree. Benjamin Percy is sticking on as writer. I like what he's been doing on that book. I really liked he gave Green Arrow his politics back, and the one thing they were able to spill about this book is that not only would Green Arrow be keeping his politics, but Black Canary would be coming back, and these characters would be meeting for the first time. Hell to the yeah, I am all about that. Thank you, DC Rebirth. More stuff coming down the pipeline. Red Hood and the Outlaws, Who Gives a Shit, Constantine, I'm amazed that's still going on. Oh, comic legend Christopher Priest is going to be taking on Deathstroke. Say what? Alright then. Deathstroke has always been one of those characters who I think I've enjoyed in other stuff than I ever had enjoyed solid, solo stories about him. But I mean, if they're throwing talent behind the book, they clearly want him to be a star, so hey, why not? I might actually give this one a try with a writer like that on board. Then we have Dan Jurgens, who continues to be on Batman Beyond, but they were sure to drop this hint, and that is that Terry will be coming back as of DC Rebirth. Tim is gone, and Terry will be coming back, and that book will hopefully become what it was always meant to be. I'm not excited, though. I think too much damage has been done to Batman Beyond as a brand. I think they kind of showed their hand how little they actually care about Batman Beyond's world and Terry McGinnis. And while Dan Jurgens is a great writer, and I will read the crap out of his Superman, I don't think he has any love for the Batman Beyond universe. I really don't. I think in his writing, you could tell he didn't bother to do any research. I think he just read the Wikipedia page for characters, and that was enough for him. So, I don't know. I'll read the first issue, but overall, not about it. Ooh, something that I know will make my buddy Joe very happy. Blue Beetle gets a second kick of the can. Jaime Reyes is back, but more than that, he's going to be mentored by Ted Kord in this book. Hell yeah, rock on Blue Beetle. So excited to see that be a thing. Some new books coming out here. Damian Wayne and Jonathan White, that is the son of the pre-Flashpoint Superman of Lois and Clark, are going to be teaming up in a book together called Super Sons. And you know what? I think that's a cool idea, because, Damian's kind of a little psycho. They tried his own solo book, and I didn't think it worked nearly as well. I really like Jonathan White's costume, because it's like a Superman onesie hoodie thing. with a cape, I would totally wear the heck out of that. I think they make a good team. I think they make a good odd couple, even more so than their dads. They make a bit of a good odd couple. I'm excited for that. Speaking of Damian, he's going to be reforming and leading the Teen Titans team. Oh, hey, just in time for that movie where he's on the Teen Titans team. They did make an interesting joke in this one, though, where it's like, yeah, Damian wants to take over the Teen Titans team. The Teen Titans say no, and so they fight about it. So at least they know it's kind of a weird fit, and the team of this incarnation of the Titans is going to be Beast Boy. He's sticking around. Raven's going to be sticking around. Starfire is on this team now. That's weird. I would have assumed she would have been more of a fit for the older Titans team because she's older herself. She's not really a teen anymore. She has the body of an adult woman and the sweet disposition of a toddler, but hey, whatever. Also, Wally is going to be on this team, the new Wally West, who is wearing the proper Kid Flash suit now. I know a lot of people have issue with Wally, not even so much about his race, although this is the internet, so whenever you change a character's race, people are going to get pissy for no reason, but kind of because of his attitude and because he was kind of a jerk. I get the feeling they're going to walk that back now, and because he's so much more prominent on the TV show now, they're going to, continue to up his profile. And another one that I almost forgot, but was in my list here, Wonder Woman is coming back, but even more so than a new Wonder Woman book, it's being penned by Greg Rucka. Greg Rucka had an amazing Wonder Woman run, one of my favorites of all time. I honestly thought his coming back was impossible. I really did think it was impossible, because the word around the campfire was when he left DC, he left in, in a big huff and everything. Apparently there was a lot of anger and a lot of bad blood there. The story was supposedly he was ironically promised to write another Wonder Woman story. He was supposedly promised to write Wonder Woman Earth 1, but obviously that didn't happen, and they gave it to Morrison. I don't know how much of this story is true, but it certainly, sounds true enough to me. But they've buried the hatchet, and it looks like we're going to have one hell of a new Wonder Woman story. And in fact, this is one of the few books that they've said is going to take advantage of the bi-monthly schedule for the books, and that is that this one is going to be, one issue is going to deal with them kind of going back to the sword and sorcery, Clash of the Titans, monster stuff that you loved so much from the Azzarello run, and then the other issue, the one that comes every other week or month or wherever you break it down, is going to be kind of retconning and dealing with all the stuff in Wonder Woman's New 52 Origins that don't make any sense. Which, hey, I'm all for that. If it's good, I'm all for that, and I think Greg Rucka is definitely the man to do it. Flash was yet another book written by Joshua friggin' Williams, man. Cool guy, writer of Birthright and writer of Nailbiter, which I love to death. I have not read any New 52 Flash. I couldn't get into it, but oh man, if he's writing, I feel like I need to start. Again, Captain Cold, Wally featured quite prominently on it. Also, the character Godspeed, an evil speedster. Well, I think he was an Amalgam character at one point. I know the name Godspeed has been used in something else before. Yet again, it's a pretty looking book. It's a very pretty looking book. So, I kind of want to read all of this. And, I know I won't have room in my schedule for my channel, so don't be surprised if when this all finally happens, when DC Rebirth takes place, if the Rack Attack makes a big comeback, because I think I might have to cover all these books. In fact, I want to challenge myself when all these books come out to review them all, or at least to review as many as I possibly can. So with that, everyone, that will bring this quick guide video to a close. I hope you liked it. I hope you understand a little bit more about the titles. I hope you have more of an appreciation. In the comment section down below, as always, I want you to sign off. Tell me, what's the book you're most excited for? What's the book you're most surprised didn't get a nod or didn't come back as part of DC Rebirth? And until then, I'll see you all next time. Cape Joel out.